Welcome to Farm RPG. Bhelogan here. In this video, we are going to talk all about perks, assign them tiers, and give them fancy colors so you know which ones you should buy first to be optimized. According to me, of course. This is all speculative and my opinion. You are perfectly welcome to have another opinion that could be just as valid. So talking about perks, there are two types. There are those that you get from your skill points. Every time you level up one of your 4 primary skills, you get a perk, and you can use those to unlock different skills. The other type we get to from the town, and then you come to farm supply, and these are unlocked with gold. So gold you can get by doing achievements in the game or completing some of the help needs have a gold reward. You can also outright buy this. So if you wanted to throw 25 bucks at the game, you can unlock all of these right off the bat. A lot of us did this in early testing because we love Firestream and helping to support the game makes us feel good. By the way, if you want to get to this farm supply page immediately in chat, you just put single bracket supply lowercase and it will give you the link to come to this page. All right, let's dig into it. Let's start with the farm supply perks. And I have these color coded in here mostly. By tier, 1 being the best, 4 being the worst, and a couple caveats where they apply in my list. So first off, I have in farm supply your fertilizer 1, which increases your silver selling price by 10%. And then I have banker 1 and 2, which increase your bank interest by 1 and then 2%. Now these are cumulative, so when you add these all onto the initial 1%, it becomes a 4% interest rate that you get in the bank. Now silver, I take this above everything else because silver selling price increases what you get for your crops and for your fish that you catch and for items that you craft when you sell them, as well as anything that you find while exploring. Now with the recent help needs or quest system, there are some items you don't want to sell you should hold on to. We're going to do another video on those later on. Now the bank, one caveat on this has a bigger impact the more silver that you can throw into the bank. So early game, it's not as important. I still list it as tier 1 just because of the long-term impacts that this has. Even if you don't have a whole lot of cash up front, throwing some in the bank right before server reset, which is midnight server time, you'll see that time stamped in chat, like right here at 9:40 a.m. Eastern time today on June 16th, 2001. So that central time when that hits midnight, that impacts, or everything kicks in. So that's when your trees grow stuff, your chickens lay eggs, your cows produce milk, all that jazz. You can throw your money in right before that happens and pull it out right afterwards to get that 4% increase. So even if you don't have a lot of silver, you can get a little bit of a bonus that way. All right, so those are my tier 1 perks. Tier 2, I have these crop growing perks. Irrigation system 1 and 2, that is 10% and 20%, so cumulatively that is 30% faster. And then I also have mattress pad. So 2 caveats really quick on both of these. We'll start with mattress pad. To make use of this, you have to have the farmhouse. It does nothing before you have the farmhouse. Building the farmhouse requires your farming and exploring levels to be level 30, and then it costs 5 million silver to build. So you're not going to be able to build this in your first week or 2, or even more, depending on how much you play in game. It's going to take some time till you can even make use of the mattress pad. So even though I listed as tier 2, that doesn't mean you should buy it right away unless you're just unlocking everything to have it out of sight, out of mind. But what that does is when you rest daily at the farmhouse, increases your maximum stamina. Instead of 1 point at the farmhouse, it makes it 2 points. So that you can build up that stamina longer for exploring. So that's why I listed as tier 2. It's really, really important, but it does take a little bit of time until you can make use of it. All right, let's talk about growing speed. 10%, 20%, those stack to 30%. The first growing speed perk you unlock, whether here or in the skills list, is going to give you a net effect equivalent to what it states. So 10% is going to grow 10% faster. After that, they kind of have a stacking cumulative effect that makes it so the observed increased speed is more than just what it states here. So if I had 10 and then I got 20, it's actually going to be more than just a little bit more than 20% growth off of what I currently see. So to make sense of that, imagine you had corn that grows in 4 hours and you had a perk, we'll say 50% speed. That's going to make it grow in 2 hours. Now, if I was looking at another perk that added another 25% on top of that, no, just 25%. Thank you. No, equals just 25%. Come on. All right. plus 25%. That would make my total 75%. That would make my growth time 1 hour. That's a total of 50% increase, not 25, but 50, because we're cutting off that top by that percentage every single time. So the more of those you have, the more effective they become and the higher impact they're going to have for you. All right, so that's my notes on irrigation systems. Tier 3, I have all of my, and this should be the same color here for exploring, but all of my almanac skills that give an extra 10% experience. I mark these as nice to have, but not required. They will help you progress a little bit faster in the game. There's equivalent ones you can unlock in the skill tree that add an extra 10%, so 20% more. These are not going to directly impact how much silver you're getting in the game. They're just going to help you progress to get to better fishing areas, better crops to plant, and so forth a little bit faster, which second tan does increase the silver, but not directly. I also list a lemonade in here. And lemonade, let me just state, this is another one that's going to take a while till it makes use to where it has a big impact on the game. I absolutely love Lemon Squeezer right now. What it does, it makes it, when you drink lemonade, by default, it gives you 600 flat Explorer experience, and then the cumulative sum of everything that you find. And you find 5 items by default with lemonade. When you have Lemon Squeezer, you get 10 items. So it doesn't quite double the speed or the experience you're going to get, because that 600 is still flat the same, but it does double the amount of items that you're going to find. And the more lemonade you have, the bigger impact this is. The analysis I give is where I'm at late game, I'm growing enough lemons and oranges where I'm getting about 36 orange juices and OJs per day. I can drink all that lemonade and get 360 items and a ton of experience with 37 plus confirmation clicks. So, it takes only a minute or two to do. To make use of 36 OJs, I've got to drink all of them. So that's the same amount of times OJ. Then I have to go explore 3,600 times. Plus, as we dig into some of the other perks later on, it becomes more than that. And that takes like an hour or two to do. So it's really a time saver that makes lemonade nice and why I love it so much. But it's not really helpful till later game. And it's kind of just almost a quality of life type thing more than anything else. So that's why I put that in tier 3, even though I love it so much. All right, then I've got my quality of life perks. I have my harvester, distributor, sower, fish supply, and pet-o-matics. These ones you don't need at all, but they make your life easier because they allow you to do things in one click instead of multiple clicks. So the pet-o-matics let you pet all your chickens or cows in just one click. If you only got 1 or 2 chickens or cows, that's fine. If you're trying to raise a whole army and you insist on having 10,000 to make a proper legion or whatever those numbers are, yeah, this is going to save you a lot of time. Likewise, harvester, distributor, and sower make it so you can one click from your farm page, plant all your crops, harvest all your crops, and sell all of your crops. So you're not going to town to sell them. And you don't have to click on each plot individually to harvest and to plant them. So the more plots you have, the more time that saves you as well. Fish supplier just lets you sell all your fish with one touch from while you're fishing. That was not as big of a bonus. It's probably the least important of the quality of life perks because it's easy to go to town and click the one button there to do it. But it does give it to you from that screen. All right, that is all of the farm supply perks and my tier list. Let's move on to the ones that you gain from skills. These have a similar analysis on. I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to color code this same colored where these two kind of flop, and I'll dig into that in just a minute. So I've got an extra point in here, an extra column in addition to the effect, the cost, the name, my tier. I also have a % increase from cost. And the reason is sometimes the question comes up, should I save up and get Quick Farmer 4 before 1 and 2 or even 3? If you look at the amount of increase you're getting per cost, the cheaper ones have a bigger payoff. So Quick Farming 1 for 5 points of cost, you get 5% increased, 15 points cost for 10% increase. Obviously return on that is 2/3, not as good. 1/2 for the 15% and 0.4 for the 20%. So some people like to say play mental games and say, well, if I save up and get the 51 earlier when my levels are coming faster, I can then start to add some of these other ones later on, and maybe I'll make up the difference in lost time between not getting the other ones first. I don't buy into that. May or may not be true. I don't care. Get the cheaper ones first. It's easy. All right, tier 1, I go again with your negotiator perks. Get those first, make that your first priority. Again, that silver selling price increases the amount of profit you're going to make off of your crops, your fish, everything you craft, everything that you find while exploring. Now, there are some things that you can craft and find while exploring you don't want to sell. We'll dig into that in another video. Those are my tier 1 perks though. Tier 2, I have quick farming and double prize. Now, if you only ever did farming, these are actually better than your negotiator perks because they're going to have a bigger impact on how much profit you're going to make simply off of farming. But they don't impact anything else, which is why I put negotiator above them. And I kind of list quick farming and double prize on equal terms, and we'll dig into why here in a minute. At certain points, different breakpoints are better. Me personally, I did all the quick farming ones except for 4. Then I got double prize 1. Then I did quick farming 4. Then double prize 2. You can kind of do these in whatever you want. Now I also list energy drink / wanderer, and there's a point where these flip as to which one is better. Early on, energy drink is really, really good. It will help you exploring quite a bit. It makes it so that you gain regen stamina at a rate of 1 every minute instead of every other minute. Late game, the wander perks are better. I'm going to dig into that in its own sheet here in just a minute. All right, after that, you've got your tier 3 perks. You have your farming perks, or not your farming, but your primer perks, which give you, again, that 10% more experience whenever you do fishing, farming, crafting, exploring. And then, and again, similar to the farm supply list, those will increase how quickly you progress in those skills, but they don't directly impact how much profit you're getting off of things. They kind of indirectly do because you can get to new areas faster, have better fish, better crops, and so forth. Next is artisan. And realistically, because you're spending a lot of your points on these other items early, it takes quite a while to get some of these later ones. I don't have any of the primers unlocked. I don't have any of the artisan ones unlocked, except for maybe artisan 1 with my regular account. The reason artisan isn't very high right now, though, is because the crafting cost on most things isn't very expensive. For your sturdy shield, that's the most expensive item to craft right now in the game. It costs 500 silver to do so. Whereas the sell price is 4,000. So, if you're looking at comparing, increasing that 4,000 selling price versus the 500 crafting cost, increasing the selling price is getting you a whole lot more bang for the buck. So this may change. It may become more important as things get more expensive with new content being added in the game. But for now, it's not as important as Negotiator or the other perks. And then my tier 4, Bait Saver. And then the switch off between energy drink and wander. The reason bait saver just isn't worth it right now, a single bait is only 3 silver. And so you're spending a ton of perk points to maybe save 3 silver. It just is not that good. So this may change in the future when there's more types of bait that become more expensive. If that happens, we'll revisit this topic. But for now, don't worry about these perks. And then I also list Wanderer initially, don't worry about it, or Energy Drink later, don't worry about it. There's a critical flipping point for those where they go from being really, really good to you don't need to worry about it. So let's dig into that. Energy Drink versus Wanderer. So Energy Drink is 25 points. When it was first introduced, I want to say it was 5 or 10 points, and all of us screamed, that's way too overpowered for how much stamina you're getting. It's got to go, and we settled on 25 points. That was really early game before much of us had much unlocked. If I was going to redo it, I'd probably say 20 points. I discussed its benefit. It gives you an extra 60 silver, or an extra 30 stamina per hour. So that makes it so you get 60 per hour instead of 30. Throughout the day, if you can utilize all of that, that's an extra 720 stamina. Now I'm going to use that number, even though realistically, you're not going to be able to explore all the time, because if you have your base stamina of 50, that would mean you'd have to explore more often than every hour before you'd overflow and you would waste it. Now, if you watch my video about is the game pay to win and you spend $1,000 and jacked up your max stamina really, really high with that, then yes, you could utilize all of this 720. Wanderer costs 19 points to get all of the perks unlocked. And if you look at them, it comes to a total of 33%. So 13 plus 9 plus 7 plus 4 is 33%. Effectively, that gives you 15% more explorers or more staminas. Well, why is that? Let's say you have 100 stamina available. So you explore 100 times. Of those 100 explorers, 33 or 33% of those isn't going to use the stamina, and you get to explore again. Of those 33, 11 aren't going to use your stamina point, and you get to explore again. Of those 11, we can round to 4 aren't going to use a stamina point, and you can explore for a 4th time. Of those 4, we'll round down this time to 1. One of those will not use your stamina, and you'll get to explore for a 5th time. Comes out roughly to 149 total explorers. We can round that out and say roughly 50% more stamina. So that's what we're going to use for our analysis. So with the gain of 50% more stamina for the day, if we look at the actual bonus, 720 stamina from getting energy drink extra. If I'm getting 1,440 stamina from my orchard trees, that extra 50% is equivalent to the energy drinks. So this is the ideal scenario where we get exactly 50 RNGs nice to us, or we could use all of our energy drink. Realistically, it's probably lower than this. What does that actually look like? 1,440 stamina would be 14 and a half OJ trees or 69 apples. If you combine those for the lowest possible amount, 48 orange trees, remember those are in groups of 6 because it takes 6 oranges to make 1 OJ plus a glass bottle. And 43 apple trees, you're going to spend 1.2 million silver planting all those orange trees, and just under $1 million for your apple trees. It comes out to about 2.16 million silver total. Plus you have to have a level 15 explorer, I believe, to build your orchard, and it costs something like 50,000 silver to put in the first place. So this isn't early game. This is, maybe we'll call it mid-game-ish, where you've got your orchard up to pretty decent numbers. At this point, it becomes more viable to swap those points, refund that 25 from energy drink, put them in, and use Wanderer instead, and then don't worry about energy drink from then on, because the more orchards, trees you grow, the more of an impact this is going to have. And you hit the point where that extra 720, realistically realize maybe 300 of it is so negligible that you don't want to waste those 25 points in there. You want those to be in other areas like your quick farm or your double prize. That's going to net you more profit at the end of the day. So that's the flipping point between those two, between between Wanderer and an energy drink. Early game, yes. Later on, dump it, go to Wanderer. All right. Lastly, let's do just a quick analysis between double prize and quick farmers. Which one should you get first? I list them on the same tier. Really, this is kind of preferential, but there are some numbers we can look at to make a judgment call. Now, in my crops and crops versus crops and crop and perk. Let me say this right. Try that again, Bell. In my crops and farming perks video, we did an analysis of saying, should I get quick farmer 4 and double prize 1 or 2? I just copied that over here. And in that scenario, assuming you have all of your silver salving perks and everything else with 32 plots, that ended up being about $1 million gold difference better to get the quick farmer versus the double prize 2, with the caveat on that you had to stay on top of this 4.8 hour growth cycle. So if you're asleep for 8 hours, you're losing about 4 hours of growth. That takes a hit to how much better it is versus double prize. Double prize, you have the same issue, but it's 9.6 hours, so you're less likely to miss as much time. But let's say you didn't have any perks unlocked. You've got some points to spend, and you're trying to decide, should I get double prize 1 or quick farmer 1 and 2 or quick farmer 3? Really quick, if you come look at the perk list, quick farmer 3 is 30 points, 30 points. Whereas quick farmer 1 and 2 is 20 together. So for the same percentage, it's better to quick farmer 1 or 2. We're just comparing that to double prize 1, which is 25 points. So those two end up being kind of in between to split the difference, of giving you a 15% chance to have double the crops. Now we're going to use corn, and I discovered in my spreadsheet and in the library, I had a mistake in the analysis of corn that made it look really good. I had this cost as 2,690 instead of 2,960, so the profit per hour looked better than it actually is. Sorry, that's been fixed. I'll have to put a note in my video probably on that. But we're gonna run with these numbers and say which one is better if I've got that 25 points to spend. So here's the analysis. Double prize 1. 15% chance that your crops will be double when you harvest them. Now, the nice thing about that is you get double profit from selling the crop, and you had no increased cost to do so. You only bought 1 seed. Quick farming 1 and 2 together comes to 15% faster growing crops. That makes your growth time 3.4 hours instead of 4 hours, meaning you can harvest more per day. But you do have to buy those seeds as well. And that ends up having a pretty big impact early on. So your profit per hour, and the way we're looking at this is your cost times your 1.15, meaning 15% of them are going to double, minus the cost of a seed. And this is just looking at one plot, and then divided by 4 hours. And a profit for a corn is 237.5 gold per hour with roughly double prize 1. Now, there's some RNG on that. It's going to be plus or minus a little bit. That's what it averaged out to. Quick farm 1 and 2 with 15%. We have just our straight cost divided by 3.4 hours. It's 129. So double prize 1 was actually almost 100 silver per hour better than quick farm 1 and 2 in this scenario. If you've got the 60% selling perk, the difference isn't as big. That's going to, although it's a huge difference in your profit. Look at this going from 200 to 37 an hour to 824 per hour. So basically for this, we take our selling price of 3,400 times 1.6. If you've got that 60% total silver selling price, and again, that's the maximum selling price increase from both the farm supply, fertilizer upgrade, and all of them in the perk list. So that minus your cost divided by your time. With quick farming 1 and 2, it's just the sell price times 1.6 minus the cost of your seed divided by 3.4 comes out to 729.4 something gold per hour. So it's a difference of, if we round that up, 95 gold per hour. So if you have all of your silver selling perks unlocked, the difference isn't quite as big, but it really shows a clear winner. Double prize 1 is significantly better than getting quick farming 1 and 2. It just flat out is. That switches when you've got all the other perks involved and you're looking at quick farm 4 versus double prize 2. And again, that's because the cumulative effect of your quick farming goes up more and more with the more perks that you have unlocked. So that last 20% is actually, it cuts your growth time in half. You can see that up here from 9.6 hours for wheat that's normally 24 to 4.8. We don't get that drastic of a difference in growth times here. So for your first perk on those, if you're picking one, I would probably get the double prize 1 first, then start going with your quick farming, get those up to 3. Then you got to make a judgment call. Do you want that quick farm 4 or do you want that double prize 2? It's kind of up to your play style and what you prefer. All right, there you have it. Those are all of the perks, what they currently are at. This may change as the game changes, but as of the middle of June 2021, that's where we sit. Hopefully you found this helpful. Thanks for watching.